What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Save the Date. I'm one of your hosts, Heath.
What's good, everybody? It's Jamie O.
For show.
And I ain't got to tell you because you already know how it go.
And I float the soap, a dope. Did you see that jam back
Big
in the
Daddy
day?
Kane.
Yeah, exactly.
Got that Kane flow right now.
Yeah, that double timing in rap has evolved.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, check us out at TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at Save the Date Now. Definitely continue to drop a lot of good information and content on TikTok. Going to be making sure that we spread it out on YouTube. And let's get into today's episode, which is dealing with the dating phrases of the transactional age. What are we referring to? The phrases that you hear commonly when you're on a date that sound like and resemble all of the content that is online, the manosphere content, the digital feminist content, all of the various types of, I would call, content holes that exist that people throw themselves down to. They come back up from them holes with all these quote unquote nuggets that are supposed to expose or highlight the weaknesses in a relationship, a dynamic, or another person when they're dating. So let's get into it with just a brief overview of the transactional age. When we talk about the transactional age, we're talking about an age of dating where people are relying on people solely for a quick one-off transaction or a long-term transaction. The point is not to honor anyone's humanity or build a connection. The point is to transact them, is to get something out of them, to extract value that that person wants out of them. Sometimes they're extracting physical labor. I'm just using you for sex. Sometimes they're extracting emotional labor. You're just passing the time with this person because they're cool to hang around with. They take
They
you out
make
to
you
dinner.
feel so understood and seen.
Yeah, but you have no intention of moving forward with them for a variety of reasons. Here's the thing. They never tell you that they're not going to move forward with you. They just let you know or hint at they may stay with you and string you along so they can, just like a succubus or a vampire, suck their energy right out of you.
Big
And this
withdrawal
is,
energy.
yes, and this is what the essence is of the transactional age. People are trying to collect transactions, not trying to forge relationships. And this is going to be important for what we're going to talk about, because there are some key phrases that Jay and I continue to hear when we're on the internet or even in our interpersonal conversations, because like I said, these content holes that people go down, they come back up and they start spreading the rhetoric they've heard in these respective content holes. And I'm going to name some of them right now. What do you bring to the table? I don't want to waste my time. I need someone on my level. Know your worth. I'm not settling. Matching energy.
50-50. Don't forget that one.
50.
That's a big
I need you to be 50-50. Are you a high-value woman? High-value male? How many of these phrases have we heard throughout the social media landscape? And they sound empowering, but we're going to take a moment now to unpack what they mean in the transactional age. So this episode is not about attacking people. It's about providing points of information and empowerment, to go back to that word, that allow people and help people find ways to rephrase, reimagine the intentions behind these phrases into communication opportunities that allow them to really and truly connect with people. So let's talk about it. We've defined what the transactional age is. Let's go to our first phrase. Little drum roll,
I was about
little
to
hand
say,
clapping.
sound like Chuck Woolery. Let's go to our first dater. Yeah.
First phrase is, what do you bring to the table? And on the surface, it sounds practical. It sounds like it's hitting. What do you bring to the table? Ain't nothing wrong with that. What do you bring to the table? It's on there. I need to know before I overinvest and give myself. And again, it sounds practical. It sounds cool. But what it does is it brings out negotiation. And we have to highlight why this is pivotal or critical in the transactional age. If you were saying, what do you bring to the table in the 80s, it might have evoked a different response. It might have evoked different feelings. But because everyone is dealing with transacting on people or being transacted upon, it brings out a different feeling. People get angry, they get frustrated, and they immediately will say, what do you bring to the table?
I am the table.
Yeah, all these cool phrases. Exactly. And what it really deals with is it brings in so much of the financial economic language that has become so prevalent in the dating world. Yeah. What are your assets? Let me count for them. Let me see your ledger. Let me see your debits and credits.
Yeah.
Let me see what your balance sheet looks like, your income statement.
Yeah. What's your
Let me
credit score?
see what you are in pure dollar signs and currency symbols. And then based on what you offer in that manner, I'll decide if you're valuable to me. And I want to stop there. I will decide if you're valuable to me. I'm going to say it one more time. I will decide if you're valuable to me. Never pausing or realizing that all human beings have value. Now, all human beings have value and they aren't necessarily for you, meaning you don't have to invest time in a relationship with that person, but all human beings have value. But we're in this transactional age. When you say, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
We're talking about, let me see if I want or I perceive you to be valuable.
Yeah. Calculating and assessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like you said, it's all about the extraction.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you can extract a couple of bands or some finances while
Mm-hmm.
you get your emotional or romantic itch scratched, some people like that. I mean, but it's kind of what we're talking about here, the importance of these phrases and dissecting them a little bit, because you never want somebody to walk away from a situation feeling like a commodity
Mm-hmm.
or dehumanized
Mm-hmm.
because you just needed to assess or calculate their value in numbers, the way he put it.
Yeah. And I'm going to be frank. This need to use this phrase of what do you bring to the table? It's pithy. It fits right in your back pocket. You can put it and pull it out real quickly. It's the 9mm equivalent of dating phrases. Lethal, but portable.
Very nimble.
Very nimble. Easy to access, easy to stow.
You can take it out and holster it very quickly.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know how many of y'all have been to the range and played with a few of them, but yeah, it's one of those things that easily accessible, as Heath put it.
Yeah. And the appeal of it is that people have been hurt. And Jay and I talk about this all the time. People have been hurt. They are in fear of carrying someone, doing too much while someone else does too little, stuck in cycles of overgiving, allowing people to play in their face while they hope that the other person will eventually see how good and how kind and how generous they are. A fear of repeating past mistakes, spending time with individuals you have no business even breathing the same airspace. Yet you did it once, you did it twice, you did it 3 times. Do I need to name how many more times you did it? Or they did it? Or we did it? To bring ourselves into it. So we get it. This phrase allows you to keep something in the tuck, to cut down any of the BS that starts to fly or you perceive is flying when you meet somebody and you start talking to them.
Yeah.
But now that we talked about the fear and the reality of it, let's talk about the problem with it. Now, we talked about the moral problem. You're just looking at people as assets and transactions. The challenge with it is I don't think it's effective as people think it is.
Yeah.
For several reasons. Number one, when you start off nasty, you get nasty. Many of us are using this term like the beginning of getting to know someone. You're on a date, you sit down, nice to meet you, or you look just like you do in your picture. I'll have the wine and you'll have the, okay. So what do you bring to the table?
Yeah. Out the blue, off rip. There's no other information about me you're gonna ask. Like, that's your first question.
We're not going to exchange any type of information, any more pleasantries, the openings of a conversation to build connection, eye contact, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table?
No care.
What do you bring to the table?
Who they like, how they're doing. Nothing about that. Just immediately evaluating.
Yeah. So one, it doesn't work. Number one, because you put out nasty, you get nasty. Two, people lie. I don't know if you guys know this, but people lie. Some people are adept at perceiving who you are, especially from your profile. If you've been chatting on the apps, if you've been talking on the phone, FaceTiming, and saying what you want to hear. Love is blind drama. We've been talking about it. Christian Jess. This is one of the things Jess is saying about Chris. She was very upfront about her liberal nature and how she's pro-human rights. And she was asking, who did you vote for? And he gave her an answer that he perceived as a salesman would make her feel comfortable. So he could do what? He could beat. Then after he beats, he talks about her like a dog in front of the rest of the cast members. She tried to see what his social media presence was online, but he wasn't on socials. What do you bring to the table? Whatever you want to hear.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
What do you bring to the table? Whatever you want to hear for me to get what I want. And you know what that is? They want a transaction.
Yeah.
At your expense.
Whatever performance is going to get me and access into that transaction that I want, I'm willing to do it. Yeah. If it's got to be a Sandman tap dance routine, or it's got to be a Fred Astaire with a crazy 8 count, and you know what I'm saying? You got your counterpart and you doing a samba, whatever. Like they're willing to do whatever, and can sell you on a dream too.
Yeah. So number one, when you put out nasty, you get nasty. Number two, people lie. They say what you want to hear. 3, for me, when it comes to this question, is what you want to do is show the value that you bring to a table. Now, you don't say, hey, this is what I bring to the table. Get rid of the table language, at least in this context. You should start by talking about your intentions and what you're looking for. We're going to get into that later on the podcast, some language you can use. But stating your intentions and who you are, the value you're bringing, the value of your presence, your identity, your vision, your goals, your heart is super critical. It's important for you because it allows you to set standards without being emphatic about setting standards. And people start to, if they're listening, understand your boundaries, but also understand the opportunities of partnering with you in the very beginning. So this is going to be critical for everyone to start realizing that you can have a conversation about value. You should, but doing it in a way that allows for your humanity and the other person's humanity to breathe.
Yeah. Think about it like this. Interview questions are eventually going to make you feel like your relationship is a job. Starting out with interview questions and approaching it like that, you will eventually turn your relationship into that. And people are going to feel like this is work. I got to perform to, get a good salary, and I got to perform and do all of these different things to move up in the world, in their world.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to feel like that.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the next one. Drum roll or snap roll. I don't want to waste my time.
That's a big one, especially on the apps.
I don't want to waste my time. No one wants their time wasted because guess what, guys? Money you can earn back, you can never get time back. This is a very mission critical statement because we all know what it's like to lose time because we're losing time
every
even
day.
as we're speaking. Those seconds that I just took won't come back. So your time is incredibly valuable and it should not be wasted. And kudos to people who structure and plan their time and are aware of the time vampires, whether in their personal life or their interpersonal life, that they need to be aware of. So let's just talk about this statement, what people are fearing. They don't want to lose time. They don't want to lose themselves in a relationship, situationship, or a hookup that's ultimately going to rob them of what they want, who they are, their identity. When you take the time to truly scrutinize who you're around, typically speaking, you increase the likelihood of getting what you want, whether it's the people you want to be around, the goals you want to achieve, the communities you want to curate, the experiences you want to have. That is pretty much a heuristic of life, and we understand it. The challenge with love and relationships, even though we understand that fear, they're not linear. There is a risk involved. That old phrase, play at your own risk, there is risk involved. You have to take note of the risk that you're willing to take in order to A, talk to someone else and get to know them, B, learn about yourself in the process of getting to know someone else. There's a risk you're taking on yourself. There is an awakening that is happening within you. You're learning to love yourself in the process of loving someone else. That is the beauty of developing and cultivating love, of cultivating a relationship. You get to learn about yourself, but also you're taking a risk on yourself. Because how many times have you disappointed yourself, broken your own word, fell back on what you said you were going to do, and you're back right where you're at, texting that number you said you weren't going to text, writing them paragraphs that you said were going to be one line boundary setting phrases, over explaining yourself. Again, this doesn't mean you should waste your time, but what we want you to understand is how you utilize time is more important than just saying, don't waste my time. This isn't going to be an efficient management of your time every single moment or time, ha ha ha, no pun intended, that you engage in a date or engage with someone else. They're not going to fall into neat cubes or blocks of time where you can just easily process a date, easily process a person, easily process your emotions. Take some time to learn who you are and who you're becoming in this process. I don't, and Jamie and I have talked about this. I don't, but we don't want you to become outcome obsessed. We want you to be more process focused, because when you're process focused, even in dating, you open the door for learning more, learning better, and eventually getting to the outcomes you want slowly and deliberately and purposefully. They elevate you and move you forward. You want to jump in here?
Yeah, what are we talking about? Don't waste my time. I mean, I feel like that's one of those phrases that it comes from, a trauma response. Like people have actually, like you said, that they've been out here numerous times in numerous situations trying to make it work with somebody. And they realize that, 3 months ago, you knew you didn't want to be with me, but you led me off of these 3 months or, so I think it's just a trauma response that people are feeling like, yo, I don't want to be out here just on a string and waiting around for you to either deliver information or help progress us to a level that I want to be fulfilled in romantically. And so, people start saying stuff like, I don't want my time wasted. You got women who have a biological clock, and there are dudes that are really out here just stringing them along and playing with their emotions and telling them, oh, I love you and I want to be with you. And knowing they don't have those intentions, or, I hear it on the guy side where guys are like, yo, she knew she didn't like me, but she
Mm,
let me spend 6 months of taking her out and buying her
mhm.
gifts and doing all of these things just to take the bigger, better deal when that came. So
Johnny
yeah, I mean,
romancing
listen,
it.
man, people want, like you said, you can never get that time back. I think it was, what was it, Hamlet? One of those Shakespeare books is, yo, the minute you're born, the second you're born, you start dying.
Yeah,
And people have that view of it. They have that eternity in view where they're just like, yo, life is bigger than the time that I'm just spending with you. So please make it worth something. Don't be out here just selling me a dream and telling me you want certain things, you want things to be long term, and you really don't have that intention.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Be honest, transparent,
Yeah.
and communicative. Let's
Yeah.
move on to the next one. Making good progress here. I need someone on my level.
Yeah, honestly, I'll just start by saying this. To me, that kind of goes hand in hand with what was the first one you mentioned? What do you bring to the table? Because, like you were saying, obviously, your heart, your time, your attention, your energy, all of the things that you do bring to the table, who you are, your optimal self, that means something to you. So, of course, you want to protect that investment. Of course, you don't want to just cash your pearls before the swine. But, like he said earlier, it's not the honesty, the words, it's the delivery. How are you having the conversation? To just say to someone, I need someone on my level, to me implies or kind of insinuates that you feel like you're either better than or above them. And I mean, obviously, there's a scale on comparison. Some
Mhm,
people
mhm, mhm.
compare jobs and career, other people compare education or status, places traveled, all of these different types
Yeah.
of things. But what kind of competition are you trying to have with somebody you're trying to connect with long term? Why get off on a foot of competition?
Mm, mm.
Is what I say.
Yeah. I also think compared to what? On your level, how? Spiritually, financially, income, education, morality, video game stats, all the nerds and blurs out there? You
Yeah.
don't know. And oftentimes, language, I always say, is clunky technology.
Mm,
Meaning, I can't wait for the days that maybe we can speak or communicate through telepathy because language can be so clunky in that we say what we feel, but very rarely are we communicating what we feel.
mhm. Yeah.
So when we say, uh, I need someone at my level, you're not really communicating what you feel or the clarity of what it means to be at your level because guess what? Words are clunky technology and they're clunky even for you. You have a challenge sometimes using them on yourself, especially if you're in your head a lot. If you're writing and you're dialoguing and you're talking to friends, you get better information over the long term. But if you're just staying in your head and just arguing with yourself, you never win. I hope you guys notice that. So you end up saying things, but you really don't have a clear way of communicating it to yourself, number one, and to others. Perfect example. Read this in a book by Michael Ellsberg, The Safe Investment, and he talked about money. In it, people will say, for example, I can't wait till I make $100,000 a year. That's when I'll be free.
Mm,
And that person finally gets $100,000 a year, but they work 80 hours a week for it. Now, do you feel free? You see what we do? We get clear about goals, but never truly clear about how those goals are supposed to live in a larger context of our emotional template or our life. And we're not trained to do that. So that happens quite frequently until we learn and become skilled at doing it. So when you say to someone, you're not at my level, are you talking about domestically, education? Because someone could be on your level education, but then they're an abuser.
mm.
I met someone at my level on all levels. What levels are they? What levels matter? Have you even taken time to figure out what that is for you?
Or
This is
like we say, has it been programmed or manufactured in your mind? What should be a standard? What should be a level, a box to check? Yeah, it's a good point.
super important. This is why taking your time and knowing yourself is critical to the dating process. Let's do the third one, the last one for the night, because we're going to have some bangers for you guys coming up as well. We're going to do a part two. Love this one. Know your worth. Know your worth. Hear it in friendship conversations and WhatsApp. groups, and group text all across the world. Know your worth. And this phrase, while it has good intentions behind it, has become weaponized because it means never. What do we mean by that? Never settle, never initiate, never accept, never receive, never give first. You put yourself into a prison of nevers that inhibits you from being able to connect and touch another human individual, which can be structured, but is still a messy process, even when structured. And the messiness and the uncertainty at times are part of what make the adventure so sweet. Notice I'm not saying the abuse. Notice I'm not saying the constant and consistent ambiguity. Notice I'm not saying the narrative warfare someone conducts against you. I'm just saying when things are going right, they can be messy. We were planning to walk home from the Metropolitan Opera. We walked outside, it was raining, and we just decided to dance in the rain a little bit, do something we used to do as kids, run in and run out. It's the fun and the messiness of the moment.
Or like we said before, you know what I mean? You can be in a situation with somebody, have all the love in the world, but y'all just haven't mastered how to communicate with each other. And it comes out as arguments.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that y'all are not a good couple and that y'all shouldn't be together. Is what Heath is talking about.
And you want standards, you want warmth, you want connection, you want good listening skills, you want clarity, but there's going to be some fun and some missteps that happen along the way. Y'all just started dating 3 months ago. It's the other person's birthday. Don't be giving no birthday. Y'all have been together are y'all clear? Now, if you've been getting ambiguity the whole entire time and you giving gifts, that's one thing. But if y'all been flowing and y'all been clear and communicative and you feel good and you feel connected, and it happens sometimes in 90 days, it could happen in 5 days, but definitely in 90 days, and you want to bless a person with a present, but because it's not necessarily that super clear about what your definition is, but if you feel good giving and understanding that you're giving out of the source of connection, not necessarily the anticipation of an outcome of that person's going to turn around and say, because you got me this gift, now we're together, then give. If you've been paying for dinners and you feel good and connected, you want to keep paying for dinners, pay for dinners. But if you're paying for dinners and someone's giving you lackluster engagement, they're stringing you along, high ambiguity, maybe a pinch of dishonesty, well, then that's different.
A pinch is a punch. It's no sliding scale on dishonesty.
Yeah, but then that's different. Then now, you know what? Know your worth.
Yeah.
If someone is driving away and you're trying to tie yourself to the back of the car just so you can get a ride with them as they drive away from you, then yeah, know your worth. That's highly problematic. But, all these phrases, again, just starting to bring them all together to head home here, we get where they come from. They come from the world that the transactional age has created, a world that's full of fear because of algorithm culture that promotes and pumps fear into our brains every single day. They don't call it doom scrolling for nothing. They don't call it outrage porn for nothing. Scarcity mindset. We're dealing with raw wars and rumors of wars. We're dealing with people feeling disaffected over politics, socio-political mishaps and attacks, narrative warfare coming from corporate brands right into our own homes. People feel like there isn't enough to go around. And
Real
economic
income
pressures.
inequality, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Income inequality.
Yeah.
Guys, we get why people are doing this. You're trying to fight through the ick. You always talk about each other in the ick. There's almost an ick that we feel life is giving us, that society, more importantly than life, because life is beautiful, is giving us. And you're doing your best to fight through it. And so we don't want anyone to feel challenged or to feel judged. That's never our MO. But we're highlighting these phrases to give you alternatives on how to represent yourself, how to reimagine what you feel, and to give you better tools and language on how to do it. How to have these conversations that truly hold your intentions amicably, but directly in front of those you're conversing with. So let's just kind of go through a couple of phrases you can use instead. I'll take the first one. So instead of, because we have them written down here, have them here, what do you bring to the table? Try, what kind of life are you building? Now, for me, I still think that may not be the first phrase you say as soon as you sit down for dinner or your date or whatever you guys are doing, axe throwing or taking someone to the gun range, whatever you guys do for novel and fun adventurous dates. And I do recommend novel, fun, and adventurous dates, by the way. I just think that you really need to take the time to get to know someone, start to connect a little lightly. Then as you move through the conversation of the night, I would say, what kind of life are you building when you're trying to get to know them, as opposed to what do you bring to the table? it allows that person not to feel like they have to prove to you what value is and like they're an asset class that you're now assessing. It allows them to talk about this is what I define my life to be, and this is how I'm moving it forward. So instead of saying that, I said, I'm dating intentionally, I'm looking for alignment. I'm dating intentionally, I'm looking for alignment. Just say, I am going out and I've been meeting people, I've been going on dates, I've been on the apps. This is what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for people who are matching or trying to connect with me on this level as I am looking to connect with them on the levels that they're at when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to fill in the blank, because I don't know what you guys may be looking for, but this works interchangeably. I'm dating intentionally, I'm looking for alignment. On this other one, I need someone on my level. I want shared values and shared ambition. I want shared values and shared ambition. So listen, the biggest thing we talk about in our togetherness model is agreement and mutuality. What does it truly mean for you to set up whatever relationship iteration that works for you, whatever version of a relationship that works for you, as long as it's based on agreement and mutual service? This is important because oftentimes people are pressured due to religious expectations, communal expectations, kind of taking in their environment saying, well, if every other successful person's doing it, I should be doing it. Let's get married. Let me get into this relationship. And oftentimes, for many of us, because we live unexamined lives, it leads to disaster because we never truly realized until after the fact we didn't want that relationship. We didn't like that type of relationship. So it's important when you're communicating to people that you're looking for someone who shares your vision and shares your values, and also that you're taking time to listen to what they're sharing and what they value. I can't emphasize this enough, guys. This is a two-person job, two-person work. So in just kind of wrapping up this episode, wrapping everything up, we're dealing with the transactional age. It's going to feel like someone's always trying to extract value out of you. You're just an asset class. You're just an orange or a fruit that they're trying to squeeze the life out of. It's part of the game. We're all playing it. Some of the phrases that we covered today are just ways in which people are trying to exit the game. They're trying to cut the game short. No one wants to feel like an asset class in someone's balance sheet, another notch on someone's belt, an accolade they can brag about on a group text. Doesn't feel good. It is dehumanizing. So we want to ask yourself this question. Are you negotiating love or are you building it? How are you communicating? Are you seeking connection as the base level for finding out and discovering what matters to you and that person in this moment or these cluster of moments of life that you're sharing? You don't have to force, cajole, or like a viper, reach out and snap someone's face off to get your questions answered, to allay your fears, to explore life with someone, and to put your intentions out there. You have tools that you can use that allow the other person to feel human and connected. And honestly, when they're human, when they feel human and connected, they're going to talk more. Little brief note I want to talk about. John Carrical, he's been making, I believe that's his last name, making the rounds on TikTok. He's the CIA guy everyone's been impersonating, and he has these crazy outlandish CIA stories. But he's known for blowing the lid on the torture that was happening post 9/11 during the terror era that was prevalent and known through the Bush administration, which is like almost 20 years ago, 2004, when Bush got elected, right after that. One of the things he talks about getting information out of people when we torture them, when people are tortured, is you never get good information because people will say anything to you to get the pain to stop. He talks about when John McCain was in Vietnam, he was a POW, he was a prisoner of war. And he said when they used to torture him, he would give the names of his platoon, but he was giving them the platoon names. He was giving them the names of the people who were the starting lineup for the Green Bay Packers. They didn't know the difference. They were watching the Green Bay Packers, and all they're hearing is American names. But he says, you know who's really successful at getting people to give up information? The FBI, because it's all about building rapport. Questions like, hey, you want a cup of coffee? Are you hungry? I heard you like this kind of snack. You want it? Hey, if we're able to work together, I think I can let you write a letter to your mom and dad, and I'll make sure it gets there. It gets so bad because people are broken down by the kindness and the connection, the rapport. They can't get these people to be quiet. They give all of the detailed information and then some. They actually just want them to shut up after a while. And it'll work the same with you. Going through the process of being a hard ass, a viper, a curmudgeon, to try and squeeze the information you want out of someone as if you're getting the last 5 cents out of your penny, that may feel good, but nothing's being accomplished. But when you take the time to connect and create an experience where both you and that person feel human, you'll get more data and information that'll mean something to you and inform the decision you want to make as far as progressing with that person or pulling away. Because you being kind to them, you connecting with them on a human level, you're going to get information that you want to hear, but you don't want to act on, meaning you don't want to move forward with that person. Don't think that you got to somehow interrogate them to get them to tell the truth. Trust me, they'll tell you the truth once they feel good about themselves. And it's truth you get to act on, whether you want to move forward or you say, hey, you know what? This truly is not for me. And on that note, Jay, any last thoughts or words?
Yeah. If everybody's the prize, nobody's present. That's another phrase in the transactional age. I'm the prize. I'm the prize. But if everybody's the prize and nobody's present.
And on that note, more to come. This has been another episode of Save the Date. I'm Heath.
I'm Jamie, y'all. Peace.
Take care.